What is up, YouTube? Chris Hayden here. Thank you so much for tuning in today. It is the first episode of Wild World. Yes, it's finally here. I am so happy that I get to finally do it. I have a kitten that is meowing at me too, so sorry about that. But once again, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. It is the first episode of Wild World that we're going to get to here today. So I'm sorry it took so long. The holidays are busy, as you guys all know. So just excited to finally get this out. It's finally edited and everything, so let's get to it, shall we?
Here we are, guys, out in the middle of Mexico. Well, by middle I mean really close to the coastline. Okay, we're walking down a little dirt road right here, and it leads to a cenote. Down here the locals call it Casa Cenote, so fresh water of the house. And we are we're down here to have a good time, check out the cenote. I guess they've got 3 down here according to some of the locals, they were saying. So we're real excited. There's a cave one, there's an open one, and I'm not sure what the third one was, but either way, guys, we're in for an adventure. So thanks for coming along. We'll see you guys at the cenote.
So this is Casa Cenote, guys, and we had a blast here. The first thing you see is some little cichlids, and boy were they pretty little suckers. I'm not exactly sure which ones they were, but gosh, they were gorgeous. But of course, there's more than just this wall of cichlids, so let's get out and stretch our legs a little bit. The water here was crystal clear. I couldn't believe how far I could see, and the shade of blue was just something I had never seen before. There was even local divers who were taking advantage of the clear waters. There was a tarpon at the bottom of the river. I did not expect to find fish as large as a tarpon in here. This was my first deep dive attempt, and as you can tell by the shakiness of the video, as well as my inability to keep it level, and my ability to only get about 15 feet deep, that I'm actually an inexperienced diver, but I'm trying my best. At this point, we had reached what I thought was the end of the tour. A little bit shorter than I had expected, however, enjoyable nonetheless. Then our tour guide gave us a surprise. Our tour guide showed us a pathway that went between the mangroves, and it said, "Do not pass without guide." As you can see, the mangrove roots were extremely close together, and it almost felt like someone was tugging at your wetsuit when you swam through it. Now we're swimming under the roots? This is starting to get questionable at best. However, the pathway finally opened up into what can only be described as an oasis. I couldn't believe the color of this water. I dived down to get a shot of what I believe is a firemouth cichlid, one of the Mexican fish you can find in some of this fresh water. Further upstream, our guide does his first deep dive, about 20 feet deep. As you see, he approaches the rock bottom, and then just casually sits there looking into the cave. As I'm floating up top, I'm thinking to myself, I can do that, right? So I take my second deep dive attempt. As I'm struggling to get down to this 20-foot depth, I finally reach it, and as I get there, I'm actually a little disappointed at the clarity, but I look to the right and all of a sudden, it clears right up, and I can see deep into the cave. It was absolutely incredible. Look at that, little cichlids. I decide to dive again. Take a quick peek inside the cave. And dive one more time, just for good measure. This was probably my deepest dive attempt, at about 20 to 25 feet. Not very deep when it comes to records, however, it is still a personal best for me, so I'll count it. Here's some more of those tarpon. Couldn't believe how big they were. As our guide took us deeper and deeper into these mangroves, the tannins started building up. Tannins are a natural byproduct from the roots of the mangroves. They make the water almost look like coffee. As you can see in this shot, you can only see maybe about 4 feet in front of you before your partner completely disappears. This was not a place to get lost. What was more creepy is God knows what was under us. We had finally reached the end of the cenote, but to get back we'd have to swim underneath some roots of a mangrove. As you can see in this shot, it was pitch black underneath the roots. The only way you knew when it was safe to surface was when you could see daylight. Just like right here. I'll try to give you an example of what it was like to try and swim through these roots. Everywhere you swam, you'd kick, and either your fins or your wetsuit would just get caught up on some roots. It was really quite tough swimming. Eventually, we made our way back to clear water, tarpon, and sunshine. I found myself a stork, so I thought that I'd try and do some bird photography. But I'm not too good at that yet. But that's okay, because I'm starting to get a hang of this underwater photography thing. It truly was another world underneath the water, seeing all these incredible animals in their incredible environments. Just absolutely mind-blowing. But all good things must eventually come to an end. As we approached the end of our tour, I had a little bit of sadness in my heart. But I know that eventually I'll be back.
Wow, guys, what an experience we had out here in Mexico, in one of the best cenotes that I have ever visited. Hands down one of the best down here in Akumal, Mexico. I believe the place was called Casa Cenote. One of the best experiences, guys. You gotta visit. Thanks for watching.